Well, Bannerlord is finally out. Let's do this. So this is an early first impression, not a full review. I've so far only spent about 12 hours on it after 5 days, which by my current standards is a whole lot of gaming. I'm just not a youngling anymore. Don't have 500 plus hours to spend on games now. There's too much adulting and all that going on. Anyway, so no shock, Mount and Blade Warband was among the best games I've played, although I've never been a fanatical fan. This series offers so much to do, the sky is the limit basically, and that's even without multiplayer. There's so much to like. I mean, the whole premise, you start as a random nobody and claw your way to the top, and you have the freedom to go wherever you want, do what you want. You can be a traitor, a brigand, a warlord. There's a large variety in character builds and equipments. There's, exploration and addicting combat. You know that just one more round in the arena? Yeah. And Bannerlord is exactly what you'd expect. In fact, to a fault. I'll get back to that later. What I didn't expect, though, was the Conan music in the menu. I mean, I'm not gonna argue, that's freaking awesome. Like, it sounds exactly like Conan. This could be a remix. Like, same instruments, same everything. That's pretty awesome. There are different factions now. There's no more Norse faction. The closest would be Sturgia, which is Slavic equivalent. But there's Batania, which is basically Celts, so that's nice. I'm not going to complain about that. And there's still Nordic equipment, so good stuff. I've always liked the anachronistic shenanigans. Like these cultures, fighting styles, and arms and armor didn't coexist, but what if they did? And, what if, for example, the Vikings had, Scandinavians in the Viking Age, if you want to be precise about it, if they had continued to develop in their same distinct style, so medieval Vikings, basically, how would they have taken that further? Would they have made a heavier visored version of this helmet, for example? Would they have had two-handed Viking swords? You do have two-handed Viking swords in Bannerlord, by the way. They didn't exist in history, but it's pretty cool to see that. And overall, this is just part of the fun of it, the pleasure of having all this wide variety of equipment available, and you can mix and match any way you want. So that's pretty cool. So it's already very obvious that this new Mount and Blade plays the same, looks the same, has the same combat mechanics, everything. There are a few new features like forging, for example, which I really like. That's an awesome addition. And you have some convenience features now. Like, for example, it actually shows you whether goods are priced near average or are more or less expensive, and it shows you the percentage, how much more expensive or how much cheaper they are. That's very helpful, so you don't have to keep taking notes and all that. I mean, you can still do that if you want, but you can still note down the exact amounts, but it gives you a general idea, which makes sense because, you're not familiar with the market in that world, whereas the characters are. So that makes perfect sense that they would know things that you don't. And now when you're in a town, there's a list of characters with quest indicator. So you don't have to search around town anymore to find somebody and figure out, do they have a quest? If so, what do they want? Etc. However, one thing that bothers me is even though you can select the characters on the map, when you do want to talk to them, there's a loading screen and it teleports you to the town map. That is really awkward and unnecessary, in my opinion. It's kind of a lazy way of doing it. I would have much preferred if you could have the dialogue options on the map so you don't have to waste that extra time. Is that something that I've noticed overall? There's quite a bit of loading. So there's a lot of... Overall, I mean, Mount and Blade is kind of a time waster. There's a lot of things that take quite a bit of time. more so than really needed, in my opinion. Part of it is also the realism. It takes realism almost a bit too far in some ways. Like walking speed seems pretty realistic. We're so used to everybody walking at the speed of a car, basically, particularly Doom Guy with his ludicrous speed. We're just used to characters walking at superhuman speed without it really being obvious. Here, not so much. I mean, I would assume they probably still technically walk and run faster than real life, probably, maybe, but it's closer. And that gets a little tedious. Overall, there's a lot of fun factor, and the same kind of fun that you're used to from other Mount & Blade games. The character customization, like I mentioned, working your way up, and the fighting and everything. It's very well designed. But I have two main complaints here. One, yes, the graphics improved, but marginally. I mean, Warband didn't look pretty, but that came out 10 years ago, and the graphics were already dated at the time. It still looks like a 10-year-old game. It seems they took the "if it ain't broken, don't fix it" a little bit too far, maybe. I mean, there's higher res textures. Now, keep in mind, I haven't played Mount & Blade Warband in a very long time, so I maybe misremember things. Now, the body models are definitely a nice upgrade. They look very detailed and well rendered. The faces, though, I mean, Uncanny Valley. Imagine you're exploring the depths of Uncanny Valley only to find that dwarves have dug an underground tunnel system, and that's where you're going now. That's how far. Get used to this bug-eyed sex doll death stare. You'll see it a lot. The first time I saw the character creation, I was like, is this Oblivion? So generally the people in Bannerlord are eyesores. Not in the intentionally unattractive way, well, some of them, but more in the creepy robot trying to be human and failing miserably way. And my other complaint is, Mount & Blade has always felt clunky to me. Well, maybe it's just me, but it feels like there's an awkward delay between a key press and an action, and that didn't change at all. In fact, it controls the exact same way. It still feels like the character is wading through peanut butter. I mean, it might be a little smoother, and I do appreciate that there's no more slow, gradual speed up when running. They used to run like steam engines, kind of, but now it's just the same speed, consistently. The downside is there's still no sprint. That's something that's always bothered me. Like, there should be, in my opinion, at least like a short distance sprint. I mean, they decided against doing that, and it would change the gameplay a lot. And I think if they had introduced a sprint, a lot of people would probably be raging about it right now. That's what I'm assuming. At the same time, you can also argue that the controls are very precise and direct. You want to do an overhead swing, you just move the mouse up and click and do that. You just move it in whichever direction you want, and they react accordingly. There's nothing really broken about it. It just feels peanut buttery. Honestly, I didn't expect that the parody video I made about fighting in Mount & Blade in 2018 would still apply to Bannerlord, but oh yeah, it does. Don't get me wrong, there is improvement. Characters used to move as if they were made of wood. Now they move as if they were made of plastic, or maybe some kind of hard rubber. So somewhat more flexible and dynamic, but still kind of stiff. On the other hand, when immersed in the gameplay in the middle of a fight, I forget about that. So it's really no big deal. I just wish there would have been a bit more improvement there. You've still got the same in-depth weapon mechanics. It matters which part of the weapon connects and at what speed. In the arena, spears kind of suck. Like, I can stab a dude in the face 3 times and he still keeps coming. But they are better on the battlefield depending on the quality of the spear and the skill of the wielder. And you can still dual shield, which is hilarious. Again, kind of tying into a video I did about that fairly recently. And it's almost necessary in the arena where you just have constantly projectiles flying at you from all directions. That's pretty crazy. There are currently a lot of bugs, which is not really surprising, and Tale Worlds is working on fixing them. At one point, I was watching a small neutral army and a band of forest bandits chase each other back and forth, like a tennis match, back and forth, back and forth. It was ridiculous. So that makes me wonder how bad the AI is for the map movement. I can't really say yet. I haven't played it enough. And I don't know what multiplayer is like. I've never really cared for that. I'm just kind of very old school in that I don't like to play with randos online because that's usually an exercise in frustration and annoyance. So to me, multiplayer is just with friends. That's it. And ain't nobody got time for that anyway. So yeah, I can't tell you about that. And feel free to judge severely, but I don't actually like army battles. I know, that's literally what the game is all about. I just wish it was more, more the lone wolf kind of deal, like Skyrim. But yeah, I tend to just pick on smaller groups and leave my troops behind and just rush at them just by myself and then try to wear them down. That's just more fun to me. And also the arena is a lot of fun. The army melees just derail into chaos. Now, again, to be fair, that is campaign, that is against AI. If you have a bunch of people who are all good players and care about fighting information and everything, I'm sure it can be amazing. But campaign, I don't know, it's just quite often you end up doing just the overhead because there's dudes next to you everywhere. It's just all chaotic. Like, overhead, Pac-Man, and stab occasionally, and that's about it. But I could just be doing it wrong because I am still kind of a noob in that regard. I did play Warband quite a bit, but again, never at like super fanatic levels. And that's been quite a while, so yeah, I'm definitely rusty on that, and yeah, I'm probably just ignoring the strategy aspect too much. However, the strategy on the map I very much appreciate. Pillaging and conquering places and all of that and doing diplomacy, that's always been very rewarding, of course. So yeah, I think I covered just about everything I have right now. So it seems really good. If you've been thinking about getting it, and you've liked the previous Mount & Blade games, yeah, you'll love this one. It's more of the same. It's literally just more of the same. Some improvement, no dramatic change, but yeah, it's good. It's great, in fact. So I hope you enjoyed my commentary. I'll leave an affiliate link down below to where you can buy Bannerlord. I had a voucher as well, which may be expired now. If it isn't, I'll add that as well. That was for 22% off. So yeah, check that out, and thanks for watching. Have a good one, folks.